However, I did find some time to go digging deep into my, okay, maybe not super deep, but deep into my WIP basket to pull out an older project that I kind of set aside. Hello, my name is Michelle, and this is Michelle's Fiverr Studio podcast. Today is Monday, August 10th, and this is episode number 103. Well, welcome. First thing I want to do is acknowledge that I am sitting in a different spot. I really didn't like the lighting in my last podcast. Actually, I haven't liked the lighting over the last few episodes, so I decided to try something new. I am upstairs in my bedroom and kind of a little bit of a corner. I got a window directly in front of me, so I'm curious to see how this works. We'll try this for a little bit and see if I can get a little bit better lighting, a little less shadows going on. So at any rate, I am very excited for this week's episode. I do have a finished object. Not going to talk about it yet. We'll catch it in the next segment. I have resurrected a WIP from hibernation, and I have another project that I've been working on as well. But before I move into the next segment, I do want to say I posted a video on Monday that is all about selecting yarn on impulse when you don't have a pattern in mind. And I shared 6 different tips of what you can do and how you can make a selection that you will be happy with and that will result in yarn that you actually knit with rather than yarn that just sits on your yarn shelf. So do go check that out. I'll make sure to link it in the show notes down below. So with that, let's take a walk over to my blocking board and check out this new finished object. I did finish my Avenue tee. I love it. I literally just put it on like 5 minutes ago for the very first time as a finished object. I'm so excited about it. I will put in a little bit of video footage right here of me standing and kind of modeling it. I don't have any space behind me to show it off live, as it were. But this is the Avenue tee by Tori Yu. I cast it on, what was the date? Get my notes over here. On June 30th. And I finished it on Saturday, August 8th. So it took me just over a month, about 5 weeks from start to finish. However, I did put it on hiatus for almost 10 days while I vacationed. So take that as you will. About a month, we'll say, that this project took me to create. Let's talk about the yarn first. This is yarn that I got while I was shopping in Waterville at the beginning of June. It is by Bigfoot Yarn Co. It is their Wendigo sock in the Dolores colorway. I had gotten 2 skeins. They are 463 yards in a skein. And that is what I have left. I believe it was about 35 grams. Somewhere in that neighborhood. So not a huge amount, but decent actually. And I actually made this sweater a little bit longer than what the pattern even called for. I'll get to those modifications in a second, but yeah, I still have a good little bit of yarn left. So that is gonna go into my scrap bucket. You can see I've got my little hang tag on here. I like to put these on larger scraps of yarn, probably 25 grams or more. I'll put a little hang tag. I'm going to throw these tags away, and that will just help me to identify in my scrap bucket what the yarn is. And then if I need any of the yarn details, I can go to Ravelry, and I have it in Ravelry to find. So, all right, let's talk some more about this sweater. It is a top-down sweater with contiguous set-in sleeves. This is the first time that I have done that. So basically they look like set-in sleeves, but they are not set-in because you knit them as you go from the top down. I don't want to give too many details because I'm actually planning on putting out a full pattern review video probably next week that I'm going to really kind of go into a lot of the details, but kind of broad strokes. I am really happy with it. The only modification that I made is I did add some length. She has you knit it to a finished length of I want to say it's about 10 inches. I think the ribbing is only 1/2 inch, and I think you only knit 9.5 inches before you go into the ribbing. And I knew that was going to be too short for me. So I knit to about 12 1/4. And so that left me a finished pre-blocked length of just under 13 inches. And I think after I blocked it, it was more like 13 1/4 or 13.5. Got a little bit more length out of it even then after I blocked it. But I am so thrilled to have this done. I love everything about it. And you can get more information, more details next week when I post my project review or pattern review video. Working on my Avenue tee really consumed 90% of the time that I spent creating last week. So it didn't leave me a whole lot of time for other stuff. However, I did find some time to go digging deep into my, okay, maybe not super deep, but deep into my WIP basket to pull out an older project that I kind of set aside. So, do you remember my Aura Lapghan? The Hexies? Yes, here they are. So this is a project by Toni Lipsey. Yes, by Toni Lipsey. And I started it back at the beginning of February. It was a make-along that she was running in February and March. So I started in February right along with everybody else. Worked on it for about 4 or 5, 6-ish weeks. And then I just had too many other projects going, and I made the decision at that point that it just needed to get set aside. That and my Soubrette got set aside. So now that I've been clearing the needles of some other things, I finished the little baby blankets or lap blankets that I was working on. I wanted to pull this one out and see how much of this I can get done in the next 2 weeks before I go back to school. So the yarn that I'm using is Yarn B, or Baby B. It's Hobby Lobby. This is the yarn that I've been using for almost all of the blankets that I have been making in their Sweet Delight. This is the Give Me the Moon colorway. I have greens and blues and purples and browns, and I'm not going to itemize all the different colors. The link will be down below in the show notes with the link back to my Ravelry project page, and you can go and see all of the colors that I am using. So it is a crocheted project, and you make all of these hexies, and then eventually they will get crocheted or sewed together. I honestly don't know. I haven't looked that far ahead. When I set it down, it took me a hot minute to figure out where I was at. There are basically 4 main colors, if you will. There's blue, pink, green, and neutrals. I have 2 different shades of brown, and then my main color, which is like an ivory. So when I started it, I did the first 2, there's 12 or 14. Ooh, I don't remember how many different hexie patterns there are in all. I actually, because I did the first clue, which used all of the colors across 2 different hexie patterns, I did all of those. And then I got behind, and when I started working on it, I decided that the easiest thing for me to do, rather than also carting around this big tote full of yarn, I have what I'm working on in my small float tote that I did a couple of years ago. I would do 1 color grouping at a time. So I did all of the blues, and I have the browns, the neutral colors, because the neutrals kind of get mixed in between, and then my main color. So that's what's currently sitting in my project bag. Actually, the green is what's currently sitting in my project bag because I finished all of the blue before I put it into hibernation. And I actually did 2 of the green squares or hexies as well. So what I have done this week is, how many hexies here? Actually, this will tell me, no, it will tell me. I have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 hexies that I did this week. I still have a bunch of ends to weave in this batch here, and I have 1 more pair to do, and then I will be done with the greens. So I have these 2 here, and these 2 kind of look like snowflakes, don't they? They're really kind of fun. And I'm hoping I'm showing you matching pairs. Basically, you're just swapping. When you do two of them, you swap the light and the dark to give that alternate look. Okay, and these now I have ends that are woven. These I had actually discovered in my basket this morning, and I think I had done those back before I set it aside as well. And these right here, they're a little wavy, but I'm hoping that once they get worked into the blanket, they will calm down a little bit. Of course, it's acrylic yarn, so it's not really gonna block, right? Like wool would. And there's the last pair. So I'm actually having a lot of fun with these. And again, I'm really hoping I can get all the hexes done in the next 2 weeks before I go back to school. That would be really, really amazing if I could do that. And I mean, it'd be even better if I could get the whole thing done in 2 weeks, but that might be pushing it. I know there are a few additional hexes and like some half hexes that will kind of round it off a little bit. Yeah. Is there anything else I wanted to talk about with this project? I don't think so. I think that pretty much covers it. So this one is on its way out of the deep dive of my hibernation stack, space, whatever you want to call it. The last project that I worked on, I really did only on Saturday, and I just did a little bit, and that is on my squishy teal shawl. And this one actually, this one cracks me up a little bit because it was a complete impulse cast on right before I went on vacation to New Hampshire at the beginning of the summer. And I'm like, this is big yarn, big needles. It's going to work up so fast. And it's been over a month. But it's just not been taking priority. And that is okay. This would be great if I could have this one done in the next 2 weeks as well before I go back to vacation. That's a possibility. Again, now that I've got my Avenue T, I have this project, I have my Soubrette, and I have the Lapghan that I'm going to try to rotate through. My muscle burrow is also going to come out of hibernation and get some work on it. I have an all-day event on Wednesday that I'm going to bring that with me because it's going to be the perfect knitting for that situation. So anyway, I digress. My squishy teal shawl is a pattern basically of my own making, and I'm starting with the Riley Rose Shawl by Jennifer Lassonde. Is kind of the skeleton. It helped me. I've done that pattern already before, and it helped me to figure out how to start the project, how to do the increases, how to do the I-cord along the edging. And then I'm kind of doing the rest of it as my own thing based on another project that I saw, just basically the patterning of it. So I have a garter section that I started at the beginning, and now I am doing rows of 4 stockinette and 1 garter ridge all the way across. I increased to right here where I joined in my 3rd ball. So let me talk about my yarn. The yarn here is Zara Plus Color. I think it's Filatura, if I recall. There's a label like right smack in the middle there. Yeah, Filatura Zara color in teal. This is yarn that I've had in my stash for years and years and years. Martin's had it, and I think that's where I picked it up, if I recall correctly. But I have 5 balls of it. So I increased for 2 balls. I just joined the 3rd ball in, and now I'm going to work that entire ball without increasing at all, working it straight. And then when I join in my 4th ball, I will begin to decrease. And so I'll decrease for 2 balls, which in theory should hopefully provide me a completed shawl. I guess I'm going on the assumption that the manufacturers made the balls all exactly the same. So it is a commercially produced yarn. I might start decreasing a couple of rows before, or like 1 repeat before I get to the color change. That might be prudent. That way I'll have just a little touch of backup, or not backup, extra insurance. There we go. That is the word that I'm looking for. So those are the projects that I have been working on this week. That brings me to my my day today, I have no project dreams, did not get anything new on my yarn shelf. Heaven knows I have gotten enough new yarn in the recent past. I did not receive any questions this last week, but I would love to answer questions. So if you have any questions for me, please drop them down below in the comments and I would love to answer them on the next episode. But as far as my day today, it is really was a pretty boring week. I didn't do a whole lot. I had my workouts on Thursday and Friday. On Thursday, I went back to rehearsals for the first time in like 2 weeks. So that was good. I feel much better, much more kind of caught up where things are at. The biggest thing I guess that happened was on Saturday we had our all-day board meeting for Odyssey the Mind. Again, I'm on the main board of directors, and we had our summer board meeting where we kind of close out last year and we really start looking ahead at what's going to happen in this next season. And that is always an in-person meeting. Most of our other meetings are virtual. So I love the summer board meeting. I love it. It's low-key because the season is still far enough away that there's no urgency to anything. Good, bad, or indifferent, right? So it's really just fun. And it's fun to talk about what went well or what we maybe can fix. It's fun to brainstorm how we can do things moving forward and to kind of look ahead. We start talking about themes, like all of those things. It's just a really fun day. I love the board. I love those people. I enjoy spending time with them. So yeah, it was a good day. And then yesterday, Sunday, we had our Evadel Sunday with my sister-in-law and my sons, something we have been trying to do, but the summer has kind of been interrupting our timeline a little bit. So we played Everdell, we had a barbecue, and yeah, it was a lot of fun. So that is pretty much it. Like I said, it's been pretty quiet, pretty boring. I spent over an hour this morning pruning back my black raspberry bushes. So I've got the scratches to prove it. Can you see them there? Yeah. But they're much more tame now. I had to retie them up, and I will probably have to do it one more time sometime in middle of or beginning of September, and then I should be good to go. And I'm really interested because this is the first time I've really done that. I've already cleaned out all of the dead or the canes that are done fruiting. Usually I have to do that in the spring, and it takes me like 6 hours of pruning and pulling out and then trimming down things that have died off because I haven't spent the time in the year before. And so the first year canes like grow and grow and grow and grow, and I haven't tipped them off. So they're all wild and unruly. And so anyway, yeah, I'm really interested to see how next year me likes the fact that this year me has spent a little bit of time over the summer doing these tasks. So we'll see, cross our fingers, right, that it makes for an easier spring next year. I do believe that is everything for this week. If you enjoyed the podcast, please hit that like button and subscribe so that you know when I put things new on the channel. I will have links down below in the show notes for all of the things that I have talked about. You can find me on Ravelry and Instagram as Knittin Michelle, KNITTINMICHELLE. You could also send me an email at michellesfiberstudio@gmail.com. And with that, I hope you have a great week and happy knitting.